I have the utmost confidence that anytime an individual is vulnerable, it's a net positive. You feel me? Mm-hmm. It's a net positive. I definitely think so, because even if you don't get the answer that you're looking for today or tomorrow, at some point it will, because you've released yourself of that inhibition. Let's rock. I'm on you guys this time, man. You know
that's
mean?
amazing.
So we'll make it happen.
So we got with us a special guest, everyone, on the Gents Talk podcast today. We got a JUNO winner.
Yes, sir.
Multiple-time JUNO nominee, a rising star in the Canadian music scene and the global music scene.
Jeez.
A lot of big things coming up for our boy ToBi over here. What's going on, man?
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Yes, sir.
How are
Thank
you?
you for having me. This is important to me, so let's do it.
Amazing. Let's do it. So we were talking before we started recording about moving. You just recently moved to LA, or not recently, sorry, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the challenges of moving from, one part of the city to the next, one country to another. But for families, moving from like one part of the world to another part where they don't speak the language and everything. And you said that hit on a deep level. So I'm wondering, maybe we can start right there. Why does that hit you on a deep level? Well,
I mean, it hits me deeply because my family did that. You know what I'm saying? We moved from Nigeria to Canada, and that process. I moved with my dad. It was just me and him. I was 9 years old.
9, okay.
Yeah, so it was just me and him, and then we left the rest of my siblings in Nigeria and my mom. And then when we got here, we got like assimilated over like a year and a half bit, and then my dad, filed the paperwork to bring the rest of them over to Canada.
How was it leaving the other half of your family? That's not easy, especially as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't easy, because the foundation, as you know it, the family is your first foundation, right? These are the first people that you love, and I'm in this new place, and I'm not with the people that I've built that foundation with, that love with, that trust with, you know what I mean? So it was a very shaky time, bro. Very shaky time, just trying to understand what new family meant, because I didn't know when they were going to come. Like I told you, a year and a half went by, right? Yeah. But in my head, I had no timeline. It was like COVID, when we thought it was going to be like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Turned into 3
years. It was just
years.
like, we'll see what happens, right? So it was a bit of a limbo stage. So yeah, that's what I can recall.
Incredible. So you've had an astounding, like the last 3, 4, 5 years, like your career has just upward trajectory.
Thank you.
A lot happening. And all of that, and we're going to touch on, you have a new album coming, and you have the nominees come in, but a lot of that is, just sort of one part of the journey. Prior to that, leading up to all of that, what happened? I want to know, man.
What happened? Oh my goodness. A lot happened. Growing up, especially as an immigrant, right? Because I wasn't born in this country, and there's a value system with my parents and my whole community, and it's basically you go and do your undergrad, you go and do your postgrad, you got to do what it takes to make sure that this decision that we made to move does not go in vain. You see what I'm saying? So that was a big part of my journey, was just figuring that out, navigating school system, did post-secondary, all that good stuff. And
did you do that because you wanted to, or because you felt you owed it to your family? Because you made a point of, like you came here, it better be for a reason.
Yeah. I would say it was like 70% because of, I felt I owed it to my family for the decision that they made. Yeah. Right. And then the 30% was like, I actually, see myself being a professional in this world, you know what I mean? But a lot of it was, I don't want to let, my Dukes down. I don't want to let my lineage down, my my people back home who are watching these guys.
Yeah.
You see me?
Yeah.
So
how long, like when you start like rapping and being like, okay, I can spit?
I started rapping when I was like 9-10 years old, when I first moved out here. Just, pen to the paper type shit, you know what I mean? Emulating other rappers before I found my own voice as an artist. And I didn't take it on professionally until about, I'll say 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the trigger moment that said, you know what, I'm going to do this?
The trigger moment was one day. Hey, that's my stomach. I'm hungry.
I got some food in here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some food after this. It's mandatory. It was, so I was working full time as a youth mental health counselor, which was I'm gonna tell you one thing. I have so much respect for those people, because a lot of the times the job is not paying that great, but they're working hard,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's a thankless job.
yeah, absolutely. Because, you go to work, people may not appreciate what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, I have a ton of respect for those people because I worked there frontline. And there was one day I was talking to one of the youth, and I'll never forget this. He was a rapper too. He wanted to rap. And he was like, man, you're actually really good. I was like, yeah, bro, I do this. He's like, so what are you doing here? And I'm like, damn, what am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? And that was one of those things where it was like a shift in my brain. I was like, man, this kid is onto something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a long time, and I love it so much. And why am I not like taking it where I really want to take it to, So, and then I quit that job, you know what I mean? And that was a decision that I had to make. The loss of financial security, of course, that comes with having
It's not an
a
easy
job
one.
like that, but
The recurring paycheck.
you feel me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I don't regret that decision the slightest, you know what I'm saying? And, I just had to make that move.
When you made that decision, how did you reconcile the I'm not going to have consistent pay coming through no more. I'm going the non-traditional route. I'm also doing something that, is not typically what parents, like immigrant parents, want their kids to be doing.
Yeah.
You go to your parents and you tell them, hey, I want to become a rapper. I want to become an artist, a musician. They're like, well, you have a job already. Right? What was that conversation like?
What was that conversation? What was that series of conversations
5-part
like?
series, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a series of conversations. It was, man, I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful for my parents and my system, because I told them, yo, I did the school route. I'm capable of finishing it. I work full time. I'm capable of doing it. Now, this is another avenue that, yes, it comes with risk, but, I'm an adult, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can make it move. I can make it shake. And, they're results-based. They're very results-based people, which you got to respect, because I'm a results-based person too, but I also have a lot of faith, you know what I'm saying? So, the convo didn't go as well as you would think.
That's why it was a series.
Long story short.
How long did it take for them to really be like, okay, like,
This is legit.
yes.
Yeah.
And it kind of hurts me a little bit to say this, but it was when somebody showed them on the outside and they were like, yo, my son is a huge fan of your son, his music. And then it was like, huh, what are you talking about? And it's like, boom, 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 look at all this, look at all this, look at all this. And they showed the whole Rolodex. And I was like, oh, okay, so you actually doing your thing. And you know what, I'm going to take some responsibility for that too, because I wasn't showing them, oh, this is exactly what I'm doing, this is exactly what I'm doing. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to head down.
It's also hard to show them because when you originally came to them, they weren't all for it.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like, why would I want to show you what I'm doing if you don't even support it at the beginning at first?
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to really run into that roadblock.
Because you don't want each time you show them something, they'll be like, okay, because they weren't impressed the first time I told you this.
Exactly. So that's actually a really great point. Yeah, because I was like, you know what? In my head, I'm like, man, listen, I don't want to sow any seed of doubt in my brain. You just can't. You can't sow any seed of doubt. The moment that happens, you might as well just, you know what I mean, just pack it in. It needs to be a constant, you've got this. It needs to be like Coach Carter when the coach is talking to the players. I gotta have my own Coach Carter in my head. I have a Coach Carter in my head at all times, being like, yo, you got this. Move. No seed of doubt. So it's probably why I didn't tell nobody.
So is that how you protect your sort of your mental state when you're working, when you're doing your grind? Like, no doubts. Yeah,
there's no room for doubt, because the thing is, when you allow doubt to step in, you're afraid to make mistakes. You're afraid to fail. When doubt is out the picture, you fail and you keep it moving. You make mistakes and you keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And I always employ that kind of thought process of, you know, what if I was a 3-year-old right now learning how to ride a bike? If I fall off, I just fall off and then I just get back on. You know what I'm saying? If I learn how to swim and I can't float properly, I just get back on it. So I always kind of treat myself with that kind of, you know, that kind of grace. Like, yo, you're doing this thing. Regardless of where it's at right now, you got this. Keep it going. I be talking to myself all the time, yo. All the time.
Out loud?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's good. Like, I do too, but like, I feel like a lot of people do, but they try to make it like you can't talk to yourself out loud.
I mumble out loud, like to myself, but under my breath. That's how I talk to myself.
Bro, sometimes I'm in my kitchen like, you know what I'm saying?
I got this, man.
Yeah, bro.
Well, I guess you got to, right? Like that's the only way that you can consistently push through. What about the days when shit's not working for you? When you're writing, it's not coming out. When a meeting went wrong, whatever. How do you get yourself back?
Yeah, I mean, I got a great team of people that work with me, not just on a professional standpoint, but like on a personal level, you know, that I can reason and bounce ideas off. And, you know, when I take a L, it's like I have somebody that I could be like, yo, this sucks, yo. Like, I'm disappointed. I am actually disappointed. And what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen again? What can we do to make sure this doesn't happen again? And, you know, and keep it moving. So on one hand, I will say I've been able to develop a resilience through the natural process of life, but also grateful to have a strong circle and people in my corner that I can, you know, be vulnerable with when things aren't going well.
I like that you use that word vulnerable. That's something, you know, you mentioned you went to school with Deshaun. So that was something that he talked about a lot, which was vulnerability and leading with vulnerability. Is that something that speaks to you and resonates with you, being vulnerable? Because it's not something that typically resonates with a lot of men, particularly in the rap game. For sure. I mean, it's wild because some of my favorite rappers are the most vulnerable rappers. You know, Andre 3000, Drake, Scarface from Ghetto Boys. Who else can I think of off top? This artist Mavi, who just came out a couple years ago. He had a show in Toronto last night. You know, those are my favorite rappers, and the reason why is because it's honest, it's true, it's scary, because you never know how the person on the other side is either gonna receive it or
if they're going to validate you, if they're going to clown you, if they're going to help you find a solution. You never know.
Yeah.
You just put it out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just got to deal with the results however it comes. But I have the utmost confidence that anytime an individual is vulnerable, it's a net positive. You feel me? Mm-hmm. It's a net positive. I definitely think so, because even if you don't get the answer that you're looking for today or tomorrow, at some point it will, because you've released yourself of that inhibition. Yeah.
And the circle of people that you have around you, we talk a lot about having the right group of people in your circle, people like you can rely on, people that you can talk to when you're feeling disappointed, when things aren't going your way, but also the same kind of people that, and you make a point about this a lot of, like they'll celebrate your wins with you.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to have that right group of people around you, especially given where your career is and going? Like, you want to make sure that you have them with you, and you want to have the right people.
Absolutely, man. Like, you know, I'll start off with my manager, David. You know, I'm going to give him his flowers live on his air. I've known him for 10 plus years at this point, you know, and he's seen every L and every W that I've ever taken, you know, in my professional career. And, you know, that is special, to have that kind of connection with another human being. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, as a result of that connection that we have, everybody else that comes into our ecosystem, they got to fit into that paradigm, because we've already built that foundation. You know what I'm saying? And it's just an extension, right? Anytime somebody comes on, whether it's a publicist or, you know, videographer or somebody who's working with us long term, they see, yo, this is the culture we've already established. So you got to fit into it or not.
Yeah.
So that's the culture that we want, you know, a safe space to express yourself how you want to.
Is your type of music, you said it's unapologetically soul music, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my question is, for someone to be unapologetic, I feel like it's because you used to have to apologize for stuff before.
Right.
So now that you're unapologetic, so what are these things that you don't have to apologize for anymore?
Oh. Yeah, that's real.
We keep it real on the Gents Talk.
No, absolutely. So there's a song on my last album. It's called Growth. It's the intro to the album. And I said, and one of the lines is, resume say Olua ToBi, holy smokes, love ain't a joke. Self-love ain't a joke. And that's one of the things that I used to apologize for, which was the full extent of my name, right? It might sound subtle, it might sound little, but there's power in the name, because I find a lot of immigrants, or even people who don't belong to the dominant culture, your tongue needs to bend, you know what I'm saying, to fit into the dominant culture. And that's something that I told myself I'm not doing anymore. I'm going to wear my full name. I'm going to wear my culture. I'm going to wear my being front and center. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I rate that, because I know, not like, I talk to people and they'll say a name like, just call me this.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try to say it. I'm not, obviously, then if I mess it up, I mess it up, and I'm legit trying. But I'm not going to just call you that. I'm like, that's your name. Like, I want to, like, help me pronounce it. If I cannot pronounce it at all, then yes. But like, I feel like I'm pretty good at pronouncing names once they tell me.
Right.
It's like, why do you feel the need to shorten your name for the appease of the masses, I guess, right? Like, it's just, so in that point, just keep your name. I love it. And like, someone's like the full name. I'm always Matthew too, right? Never, like, I don't like Matt. I'm like, Matthew's my name.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, and it's always like calling people by the full name too.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes I'll shorten my name if I think that the person on the other side won't be able to say it easily. And my name's not hard. It's Samir. No. It's very easy.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll just call me Sam.
They'll be like Sam.
I get Sam a lot, yeah. But like, I'll correct it. But sometimes it's just easier to say Sam, because I'm like, you know what? You'll hear it. You'll know it. You won't mess it up.
Right. What do you like more?
Samir.
Like, then no, like me.
I like it.
Samir. It's such a nice name. What does it mean?
Thank you. Companion.
Oh my goodness, that's fire.
Thank you.
Let's go, man.
That's
It
fire.
basically means a companion, someone that will join you on your journey to where you're going. I may not be there for the whole journey, but I
Yeah.
will be your companion for whatever part of life we're supposed to be together.
Whoa.
What does Sam mean?
Sam?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Exactly. You're gonna lose Samir for that?
You're right. I know.
trying to
Exactly.
find
Talking
out.
about, man. That's why, man.
Yeah, man.
Gotta keep the full name.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So no, that's dope, man. Thanks for sharing that. I definitely see the point where if you're used to your name being butchered so much, I could see why you'd be like, hey man, listen, just call me this.
Fair.
Just take
Fair,
these.
yeah.
Just take these 3 letters and just call me that, because I can't even deal with.
Fair. It's true.
You
Like, yeah,
know.
because if you can't say my name, I don't want to hear it incorrectly either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just whatever floats your boat, as long as you feel good about it.
Yeah. I mean,
You
there's some
being
people
the
that
name
like
holder.
their nickname. That,
Yeah.
Like they'll hear it and they'll like, yeah, you know what? Actually, just call me by that because I
Yeah.
prefer it.
Absolute.
Yeah.
Absolute.
So the next evolutionary step of your career, I mentioned this a few times now, and I'm going to keep mentioning it because you're doing incredible things.
Thank you.
So walk us through sort of what's the next step? What happens? You release an album, you know, you go on a tour, you're being nominated for a JUNO. Hopefully by the time this goes out, you won the JUNO. But I'm just curious as to, you know, what's on your radar? What are you hoping to accomplish?
For me, it's a couple of things. I think music has always been my primary vehicle of expressing myself, but I really want to build out my whole brand as far as what I want to put out into the world, which is, you know, music, art, curation, you know, having like physical spaces for people to enjoy the music, enjoy the art, maybe food, fashion, right? I want to build all that together and put that out to the world, you know, because I feel like I've been thinking so much about ways to help improve people's lives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And music has always been the primary way of doing that, but I just want to give more. I want to build more, you know? So that's what I have coming next. And I started that over the pandemic with a platform called Unpack, which is like a mental health forum for creatives.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it literally started in 2019 now, actually, so 4 years ago. And we had an in-person session with creatives, artists, songwriters, whatever your creative medium is. And basically, we just gave each other tools. We gave each other tools like, you know, what helps you overcome writer's block? You know, how do you balance your books as an artist? You see what I'm saying? Because you're also an entrepreneur.
How do you, well, yeah, I mean, like, how do you balance your books in general? I think is like a huge thing for a lot of people.
People don't be talking about that,
Yeah.
but you must. We must, actually. We must, because, you know, we're artists right now, but we want to be we want to be creatively expressing ourselves for as long as we live, right?
Mm.
So let's not beat around the bush. We need finances, we need resources, and we need a foundation to be able to do that into old age so that we're taking care of ourselves. So that's a big part of it. You got to know some accounting.
Yeah. Look, so what would you tell younger artists who are coming up or starting to work on the craft? They're in that moment where they're going to walk away from that regular paycheck. They
Mhm.
want to take this seriously as a career. Any lessons you can maybe share with those folks?
Absolutely. I would love to. First of all, listen, kudos to you. If that's the path that you want to take, I got a lot of love for you and support for you, because I know it may seem, you know, it may seem like a mountain. But the first step, I think, is you've got to have unwavering determination and be willing to sacrifice a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be willing to delay gratification and not get exactly what you want right away. 2, from a logistical standpoint, you need a financial runway. So if you say for the next 6 months, if I don't make a single dollar, am I gonna survive? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever your runway is, 4 months, 3 months, whatever the case may be. Just to think about those. And then also utilize the power of DIY, you know, since everything is, you know, on YouTube at this point, right? Utilizing DIY before outsourcing, you know, services to other people. You know, try and learn as much as you can on your own and with your friends, with your peers. I learned this from Issa Rae. You know, we always talk about networking up, but networking parallel. You know what I mean?
Which is such an important thing. Like networking within your, we'll call it range, is so important, because that's people that are going through something similar to what you're going through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You learn together, you grow together, and you
the same mindset as well of pushing forward. Right?
And you become like one giant synergetic team in a lot of ways, right? Like your network consistently just grows, and now all of a sudden when you get to that point where, you know, you need to outsource that thing because you can no longer DIY it. Yeah. You now have that network of people. You're not wasting your time looking for other people.
Absolutely.
And the project Unpacked. Yes, sir. It's still active. Mm-hmm. What is it doing today to help artists?
So since we first launched in 2019, we've done 4 in-person forums, you know, partnering up with SoundCloud, Red Bull, University of Toronto, Mississauga, and we did the in-persons, and then we did virtual ones, partnering with Our Women's Voices to help creatives. And more recently, we did a partnership with Unison Fund and TELUS, where we were able to donate $10,000 to mental health services in Toronto. One of them was Youthdale Treatment Center, where I used to work, frontline, and the second one was Unison Benevolent Fund. And I don't know if you're aware of Unison Benevolent Fund.
No.
Basically, it is a mental health service for musicians in Toronto.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it provides free services to artists who sign up for it.
What's the, I guess, distinction when you're an artist? Like, what type of mental health services would you typically be seeking as an artist versus an average person?
I mean, it's the same thing.
Right.
The only thing would be just an understanding of the sensitivities that come with being an artist. So the things we talked about.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Financial insecurity or, you know, creative imposter syndrome. I know everybody goes through that, but you know, there's certain ways that it's like attuned to artists. You know what I'm saying?
Do you ever deal with imposter syndrome?
Absolutely.
How do you deal with that?
How do I deal with it?
I'm always fascinated by that one, because that's something that, and I've mentioned this several times, there are times where I'm like, man, is anybody even watching this podcast? But again, it's not even that. It's more my own thing than it is anything else. There's no reason for me to feel that way other than I'm doing that to myself.
Right. I mean, it's that internal monologue. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'll go into a session and it's like, yo, there's big dogs in this room. You know what I'm saying? It's like big dogs. And, you know, that voice will creep up and be like, yeah, but you're not them, though. And it's like, then the other voice comes in, the Coach Carter voice, and it's like, hey, but they started off somewhere too. And look at what you've done and listen to this thing that you're doing. And it's just like the internal dialogue, right? But one needs to overcome the other. That's why I don't like any seed of doubt. Cast away. I rebuke it.
You're going to have your own. You don't want anybody else to bring in outside. And have you started thinking negative things that you never even thought of?
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, oh, I didn't know that was even an option. Now it's a bad option.
Exactly.
Like, you know, it's like if you're gonna give me alternate, like something else to think about. Let it be a good thing.
Yeah, give me that gas.
Yeah, facts, like,
Yeah, give me that
Make me
gas.
stressing on the other stuff all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so as far as that kind of stuff, man, I love what's his name, Jim Rohn, C.T. Fletcher. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these guys, but these are the guys. Oh, E.T., the hip hop preacher. Those are my three: Jim Rohn, C.T. Fletcher, and E.T., hip hop preacher. I just listen to them in the morning. They get my mind right, yo. Yeah. So, yeah, no time for the imposter syndrome, to be honest. Please.
Do you do any journaling or anything like that?
Yeah, I do journal. Not as often as I would like to. But
You gotta make time for it.
yeah, I do.
Well, your schedule's all over the place now, right? I can imagine you're always on the go.
Fam, it's all over the place. It's all over the place.
Like you're in Toronto now for 2 days, you said, and then it's just on to the next stop, and then you're just constantly going.
Well, I mean, then I'm going to LA tomorrow, and then I'm in San Francisco the day after, and who knows how long I'm gonna be there. So we'll see.
Speaking of like imposter syndrome, like what do you think? Because obviously you're gonna start thinking sometimes that you ain't shit, right? And then obviously you have to think sometimes that I'm the baddest man in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have to reel yourself in.
Yeah.
But like, how much time do you think? What percentage do you still have to have that? I am the baddest in the world. Because it can't be like 40%.
It's almost got to be like an insane number.
Like it's like you got to be like because you can't think that you're the baddest on the planet all the time, right? Because like I said, you got to humble yourself. You got to be able to humble yourself too, and work through and it's like, okay, but like I got this. You know, versus I got this. I know I am. Versus like I am the best.
Right.
And but you also have to think that you're the best.
Absolutely. I think you got to be arrogant enough to be like, yo, I'm the best. But you got to be humble enough to be like, yo, I can get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's that teeter, you know, that's that fine line. Because, you know, you ask Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying? They never out here like, yo, man, listen, I'm not doing good right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if they are, they're probably doing it at home on their ones. But, you know, these are the people that lay down the blueprint. You know, greatness has got to be all to me. It's all or nothing. And then the part where you fill in that gap is that, yo, what can I actually improve on? Because you never bad. If you in the arena, you're not bad.
The fact that you're there. Yeah.
There's no way you're bad. You in the arena.
Yeah.
It's like when people online be like, "Oh, this NBA player is trash." What are you talking about?
It's like the
fact he's an NBA player.
An NBA.
What was it? White Mama. He had that.
Oh, Scalabrini.
Yeah, and he had that contest. Can he beat Scalabrini? And he played ball against like people that said he was garbage, and he just whooped all of them.
He dummied all of them.
Every single one of them. Like it wasn't even like I think the total was something ridiculous. The total between like 8 to 10 people was like 32 to like 8 or something.
Right.
It just washed everybody, and he's like, it shows the difference. It's just like it doesn't matter how it's in the arena. Like you're better than everybody else watching.
Well, haters are haters. They're always gonna hate.
Always.
Do you get a lot of like? Do you get a lot of haters in the comments? And
Always.
Stuff like that? How do you deal with that?
You know, I think there's two things. One, I gotta remind myself. First of all, I don't respond. There's no way I'm responding because it's just feeding into their low frequencies. So that's one.
I like that. They're low frequency.
Two, it's like, yeah, bro, it's the
that
frequency.
Yeah.
Two, it's like, yo, how you gonna hate on the people that are actually out here trying? How you gonna hate on the person who's like, yo, I'm about to put this out there? It's like, bro, you gotta try some of that for yourself.
Yeah.
Try it. I remember this one dude in the comments, he was like, oh yeah, this, because I did a rendition of another song. I did a cover, and he was like, oh, this shit is trash. and I was like, you know what? I usually just let this slide, but I got a little time today. And all I said was, let's see yours then. That's literally all I said. And bro said, oh, I ain't really even mean it like that.
Yeah, because they don't think they're gonna get a reply. Yeah, they're keyboard warriors.
They're just bored, man.
And I didn't even ether him. I just put the mirror on him like this.
Yeah.
Let's see yours. That was it. So, you know what I mean?
I don't know what it is, why people feel they need to tear someone else down to feel better about themselves. Like, I don't comprehend the logic behind it. I have never, and I'm proud of myself for that, and I always make sure I never, if I'm going to say something to someone who's putting something out there, it's either positive or nothing at all.
Right.
Because that person is, we all are. We're all riding on what people are saying about what we're doing. There's no way you can live in today's society without paying attention to the noise around you. As an artist, I can imagine that's only amplified tenfold. But unless you got something nice to say, why say it at all?
Yeah, and I think it speaks to what you're saying, right? Like, if you're not in the arena building yourself, if you're not in the arena working on something, all you could do is hate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect to Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith in the NBA, because it's not meant to be disrespectful, but they're commentators because they're not playing. All they could do is commentate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's not to say that they hate. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know Skip and LeBron, but
but you look on the other side too, and you like, let's say like Shaq, and it's like, well, he just knows, because you think Shaq, they're like, response people always say, well, all he talks about is I'm a champion, and it's
Who
how,
says
like
that?
Shaq.
Oh, right.
And that's like how he'll like end a lot of arguments, and which he's correct.
I love
right?
that.
I mean, if you've gotten to that point, though, I think you can. That's where I think you can flex a little.
Yeah, like I've read some arguments about that, is that they're saying that with the players that that some of them don't have like the broad scope, right? Because if you're like, you're kind of like, okay, you're very biased and you might stick to just what you know, right? Opposed to like a commentator, like they don't really know that, so they, like, when you don't know the main thing, just so you go everything else. But it's like, so they'll know about this and this about this team and this about this team, and it's like, as a former player, sometimes you don't always have that, I guess, in-depth analysis, that kind of. But I prefer hearing the players talk about it all the time.
I like it too. I definitely think it's nice to have that balance, though, to have somebody who's like, oh, I can see it from this angle because, you don't look at it that deeply. But it just hits different when you see the actual players riffing off each other and you're like, oh, okay. Like, you're getting into the weeds of things, Yeah.
Is there anything like that in the music industry? Commentators of some kind that you can, like, I'm just curious, I'm thinking out loud. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Like people like critiquing the industry,
that you could be like, okay, this is a person whose opinion on, because like music is so subjective. Right? Like that person who says, hey, this is trash, it's the same song that to 1,000 other people could be like, this is amazing.
There's so many different genres, right?
Yeah,
so
there's just too much to for one person, I think, to be a critic.
Fam, music is even worse than sports, because you see how in sports you got the TV roles. In music, you got all the YouTube reviewers. You got all the Twitter reviewers,
right?
IG, guys. TikTok.
You
know what I'm saying? It's like a constant, let's descend on this project right here.
Yeah.
Music is wild, yo. And to your point, 95 people may not like your song, and 200,000 people love your song.
Yeah.
What does the 95 people's opinion even matter?
It doesn't.
But we focus on the negative. So as someone who used to be in the mental health space, why do we focus so much on the negative?
Well, from what I've learned, there's a evolutionary reason for it.
Okay.
And the evolutionary reason is, if you're walking down a road, right, and one side has a danger and the other side is just normal, your brain is going to pay more attention to that dangerous side because it can actually have an effect on your life. And that's why as humans we're more attracted to bad news, because it can actually affect our lives, whereas good news is like, you know what I'm saying, it could or it can't, it's like neutral,
right?
But bad news, you know what I mean, it can actually like hurt some shit. So I think that is just a part of how we're wired, and we gotta train ourselves not to feed into it.
You got to protect yourself from that, from all that negativity.
Yeah, I never thought about that before. That actually makes sense. I was thinking a lot simpler. I was thinking like if you have like 2 bags of chips and someone's like, which one do you want? But you can't have that one. Even if you're going to choose this one, now you're like, wait, why can't I have? Now your brain kind of wants that one because it's just because I guess being told no, there's something about not being able to, because remember also in the world you can't, like you can do anything you want. Right, and everybody always tells us it's like you can do anything you want. So it's like once someone tells you that you can't do something, it's like, wait a second, why?
Yeah,
is it can't because you can't do it, or like do you not believe it's possible? Because everything's impossible until somebody does it.
True. Yeah.
Right, and it's just like so. It's I think it's a lot of times people tell us they can't do something. You can't do something because they can't do it in that sense, right? So you're always kind of like, okay, well, just like a lot of times you shouldn't drop out of school and do this, and then when people have dropped out of school and done great things.
Yeah, watch
right?
me. Yeah. Absolutely.
I want to know where you get your inspiration from. I've always fascinated by artists and their creative process and where they draw their inspirations from. If you want to share that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here with you, so I'll definitely share it. I think I'm somebody I'm just inspired by everything around me. You know what I mean? Everything. Like, every time I hear a song on the radio or in the Pizza Hut or whatever the case may be, there's something to be inspired by there. There's a story there. So that's like passive. Then when I seek out inspiration is, going to like art galleries and, going to, different exhibits, because then I'm seeing somebody else's worldview that I may not identify with and seeing, whoa, like this is a reality for somebody. And that stuff always inspires me for sure.
And what are you hoping people on the receiving end of your music, what are you hoping that they take away from your music?
I hope they take away a sense of personal power, because in my music, my intention always is, am I being liberated by this song right here? You know what I'm saying? Like when I put out this song, is it making me feel a little more freer? Is it making me feel a little more, am I living life more because of this song? And if the answer is yes, then there's a high chance that it's going to help somebody else do that. Because at the end of the day, music is, we're going to take it there, is vibrations. You know what I'm saying? And the vibrations that you put into the music is coming out on the receiving end, whether we like it or not. It's like, it's science at this point. And just going with that intention. And, that's what my favorite artists do. Kendrick, that's what he does. Bob Marley, that's what he does. Fela Kuti, that's what he does. And they don't have to say it. You just feel it. So.
And how do you balance, as an artist, the entrepreneurial side of things with the creative side of things? Because I imagine that there's a good part of you that's constantly thinking, will this make me money? Because naturally you got to live.
Absolutely.
And on the other side, staying true to the art itself without sacrificing any of that. How do you balance the two?
Well, I'll tell you how. I don't believe in a starving artist.
Okay.
No, I reject that theory. I rebuke it. For all my aspiring artists, established artists, we reject the notion of a starving artist. And that's because I feel like we've been told that in order to make good art, you got to be suffering. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bruh, we already suffered enough. You feel me? So, yeah, I'm very conscious and I'm very, deliberate with the moves that I make from an entrepreneurial standpoint. And, I want to sustain myself. I want to sustain the message that I put out to the world. And I can't do that if I'm in a state of struggling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
I take it very seriously. I take, also another important thing is if you feel more secure, in my opinion, if you feel more secure financially, you're not gonna make corny decisions to make money that will ultimately harm your art. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that perspective.
I just can't, I don't see myself doing a song with somebody just because they offer me a bag and it's like a whack song, or the music doesn't gel with my spirit just because they paying me money for it. Like, I don't see myself doing that.
You don't need it at that point because you're secure.
Give thanks.
It's such a powerful position to be in when you can make that decision, because you're not sacrificing your art, you're not sacrificing your creative process or your character. You're remaining true to who you are as an artist.
Absolutely.
And then you protect that, essentially. Like, you nurture, you're watering your art, essentially.
100%. So artists, it's not time to go broke. You know, like I said, I rebuke the idea of going broke for artists. It's not in us. We keep it moving.
So how do artists who are starting off or coming out and are struggling, right? They're in that process of, they want to dedicate more time to their art, but they have that job that they have to hold down. What could they do to change that narrative a little more?
I feel like there's a certain stigma with working a job and being an artist that I just don't agree with. You know, I think, you know, if your job is sustaining your creativity, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's like the job is literally taking away from the creativity in terms of like brain power and whatnot, then it should be reassessed. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that, you know, because I've been there. I've been in a place where I was working full time and it was taken away from my creativity because I was in the weeds with my work, and I made the decision to leave that job. But even though I left that job, I was still finding ways to make money, legal tender, in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to sustain yourself. And there's no stigma. Like, I just want to wipe away that stigma. Like, yo, if you got a job, fam, that's great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. You should
working.
be celebrated, man. You're
especially,
working.
Especially like, I feel like especially more in the rapping too, because it's supposed to be like ballers.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, so yeah, like you can be rapping and work anywhere because everybody's working.
Absolutely.
You know?
Especially in this economy.
Yeah.
That's how the economy works.
Yeah.
If you're not working, how are you making money?
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Not everybody's balling. That's not how capitalism
Most
works.
people aren't balling.
Most people aren't balling.
Yeah. And the more conversations, that's the thing, more conversations you have with like real conversations you have with people, you realize that even if they're quote unquote balling, their expenses are a lot higher too. Right? So it's like they're still in that, they're still struggling.
Just at a higher level.
Yeah. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
fighting the same fight, just maybe on the 5th floor. Like, you know, but like they're fighting just as hard as you're fighting.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, so don't even just keep moving.
Yeah. At your own pace, in your own lane, keep the blockers on, because, like, I mean, listen, Chad, you know Chad Johnson? I don't know if Ocho Cinco.
Yeah.
You know, I love how unapologetic he is about saving money, because he just doesn't care.
I love it. Like, he's 40, man.
Like, he's just like, yo, I was wearing fake chains. You know what I'm saying? Because from afar, who could tell the difference? You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, that's his way of doing things. But the moral of the story is, for me, it doesn't matter what you have on you. If you can't afford it, that's just corny. That's the corniest thing. You got stuff on you that you can't afford, that's cornier than not having it on you.
100%. So, or going out and balling and spending, like just splurging everywhere, and in reality you don't even have enough to put food on the table.
Yeah, like you do stupid shit to impress people that don't even care.
Yeah. What is it you do? You do stuff to impress people that you don't care about, or that don't care about you, with money you don't have. Like, it's just it's something like that. It's just, we do it, especially men. We like we feel as though we need to show off. That's how we make our mark. That's how we stamp our
like
power.
Peacock feathers, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know, like you gotta see me, right? And whatever way you got to see it. Sometimes it's okay. Like it's also too is what are you trying to attract? Because there's beliefs that certain things attract certain people. Like, so if I do this, I'm going to attract this.
Yeah.
So
in reality, I imagine you're probably attracting the wrong type of people.
absolutely, because then you don't. But then then you get in that situation where maybe that's all they want.
Maybe, I mean, to each his own, right? Some people just want to attract whoever they can attract at that point.
Yeah.
So
It runs deep.
it does, but it ultimately ends up like it. I think there's too many men that end up living these fake lives, and they're unhappy inside, and it's all show. It's all a facade, and it's for nothing, right? And ultimately, what ends up happening is then they start taking those shitty jobs, and they make those songs, or they go and they collab with someone because they need the money now.
Right.
Like they've sacrificed their soul at that point.
Yeah.
But
Love yours.
yeah, absolutely. Focus on yourself.
Love yours.
And speaking of yourself, what do you got coming up outside of this? You said you're doing some stuff around the States. You got a new album coming.
Yes, sir.
When does that one drop? Can you say?
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing is I don't have a firm date.
Okay.
But I know it's gonna be before the summer
Okay.
of this year. Working on some songs right now, and I have a song dropping in 2 days. It's called Flowers.
Right.
It's featuring. When's this gonna drop?
This episode will probably drop in a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be
bet.
post the song.
All right, so you're good then. Yeah, so it's called Flowers. It's featuring Mavi, one of my favorite artists right now. He had a show in Toronto last night, which I came out for, and it's a beautiful song. It's basically about what we're talking about right now. So yeah, I just hope people internalize the words for real.
I love that. I love when an artist really. Their songs really embody something that means something to them. It's not just look at all the money I have, look at all the cars I have. Oh, I went to a club here and did this. It's like there's actual meaning in their lyrics.
It's flowers, right?
Yes, sir.
In the sense of like, give people the flowers when they're alive, or is it like?
Yeah, that's part of it for sure. Yeah.
Or is it like men like flowers too? Do you like flowers?
Oh, what?
When's the last time you got
Love
flowers?
Yo, I got flowers 2 weeks ago.
Lucky.
Yeah.
I don't get flowers, man. When's the last time you got flowers? Do you like flowers?
I like flowers, but I don't know if I like receiving flowers because I don't know what to do with them. You know, like my girlfriend loves flowers, so I'll get her flowers all the time. I like giving flowers because I love the reaction that people have when they receive it.
Yeah.
But if someone gave me a set of flowers, I'm like, these are nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Like true that personally, that's it.
I hear you.
I hear that. I agree with that. I still like I like a plant.
Yeah.
Because then
Plants I'm good
because flowers gonna die in like a week or two. It's like either way it's gonna die in a week. So it's like I don't know if I'm really doing a good job at taking care of it or how long, or maybe it's just like, you know, maybe this flower just dies quickly. But if it's a plant, you know if you're taking care of it.
Yeah,
For sure.
If it grows, it grows, and you like, you know, still a little something to take care of.
yeah, I like that. You just water it every so often.
Yeah.
and then every day, and then it grows. But I don't know enough about plants.
give it the right sunlight conditions.
Yeah.
Flowers, all right.
Yeah, flowers, man. Because even to me, it's like the imagery of flowers, like a bouquet. You're seeing all of these different colors in there, and this is like a reflection of the world that I want to live. You know what I'm saying? Like I want diversity. I want, you know, different colors, different perspectives, different lifestyles. Like that's what makes, in my opinion, that's what makes Toronto one of the best cities on this planet. Is the sheer amount of, you know, ideologies, perspectives, flavors, tastes coming together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my entire being. That's why I'm wearing these bright colors. You know, because it's just how I feel.
No, amazing. ToBi, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming by.
Likewise.
Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Appreciate you pulling up.
Yeah, man.
Taking time, you know. You got a
busy
flight to
schedule.
catch, so I appreciate you coming and hanging out for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Now we got to do this again
Soon.
very soon.
Hey, we got more to do. We
A
got
lot
more.
more.
Now we're tapped in. You know what I mean? So now
100%.
you two are part of the clan.
Here we
You
go.
feel me?
I appreciate it.
And we'll
Thank
keep
you
it
for
going.
welcoming us in.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Poncho, thank you very
Poncho.
much.